Hey there folks, Greg Shepard here, S&A Financial Services. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a situation I've run into, the same situation twice over the last, 6 months, but it warrants a video, okay? Kind of a PSA to you good folks out there. So hang tight and I'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Those of you that don't know me, again, my name is Greg Shepard. I specialize in helping folks all over the country just simplify those oftentimes confusing TIAA accounts. Okay, so I just ran into this situation this morning again after running into it a few months prior. So let me fill you in, and I'll give you my conspiratorial suspicions, if you will, that probably lead to nothing. Okay, so I have a person that found me on YouTube, right, just like you all did, onboarding as a client, and I was sifting through their TIA account. I noticed, hey, on this RC contract that you have, now she has since terminated. She terminated, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, but this has been going on for quite a few, like 24 months, almost like maybe a couple years, a little less than that. I noticed some transactions in her RC contract, like $350, $360, $400, rather small, but monthly transfers to another company. So this was going on while she was in service and still to this day while separated service as well. So I asked, where's that money going to your knowledge? And her husband didn't even know this existed, okay? Which is fine. This happens all the time. And I even saw it on the statements as well. So called TIA. They couldn't see it on their end, which baffled me, okay? But I saw it on the statement. And I sent them actually a snippet, a screenshot of what I was talking about. Finally, between some phone calls back and forth, I found out that after diving deeper, the employer switched record keepers a couple years ago, which is fine in and of itself, from TIA to Fidelity. In turn, the employer was in cahoots with TIA in creating, it's in the plan documents that states when the new record keeper is implemented. Sorry, I'm tripping the wrong words here. This is so unusual. The TIAA Traditional inside the RC contract will be dispersed over 60 months, 5 years, I believe, 60 months over to Fidelity. Now, where this becomes even more baffling is the person like I spoke to and the person I spoke to, different institutions, by the way, prior. Each of them had very attractive rates in traditional. So the person, I don't remember the one a few months ago, but the one I talked to this morning, she has 5.7% average crediting rate on that traditional. Now, she's going to implement or initiate lifetime income for these monies and some other monies that are in traditional. So we're not really too up in arms about this. Bigger fish to fry in life in these folks' situation. Why? Now, I'd ask myself a couple things here you can take away from this video. Why did this occur? Why is this an illiquid contract? Plan documents govern, which is instilled, implemented with coordination from employer and TIA. Why would they have an illiquid contract? For a lot of folks that are in RC contracts, you're getting over 5% in traditional, liquidating monthly over to Fidelity. That's an illiquid contract. Dare I say contractually obligated to keep that money illiquid per documents when put money in originally, when the participant put money in originally. Okay, so conspiratorial thoughts kind of go into play. And these are both smaller institutions. Are there people in the institution higher up, maybe have more dollars in their accounts, that want liquidity for that RC contract? So somewhere along the way, higher ups coordinate with TIA and Fidelity. This is my opinion, have no factual basis at all, to implement or agree upon liquidating an illiquid traditional investment in an RC contract over 60 months to Fidelity, and somehow this gets negotiated upon. I don't know that to be fact, but it's highly unusual, to the point where when I talked to the TIA rep, he had been there for 8 years or so. He had never seen anything like this before in his life, as long as he's been with TIA. I've been doing this for 24 years. I've seen it, to my knowledge, recollect, twice. So if your plan, if your institution's plan changes record keepers, especially in this case from TIAA, this was from TIAA to Fidelity, which is pretty common going from TIAA to Fidelity because they're the two biggest players in the higher ed space. And you see some transactions coming out of traditional going, in this case, to Fidelity. It's an illiquid contract. You better pause and do two things. First, look at what your average crediting rate is on traditional, and then you better start asking questions as to what in the you-know-what is going on. Why is my money in an illiquid contract getting 5.7% of which I agreed upon contractually with that investment, leaving that investment? I didn't sign anything, participant. I didn't sign anything to that extent. Why is this occurring? And that, to me, would be a very warranted question, okay, to dive deeper. So I say this with emphasis because this one's pretty hard to believe, and I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of trying to figure this one out, to be honest, okay? But the little PSA for you folks out there, first, has your record keeper changed? Then start diving into some of these questions, okay? Maybe 99% of you, this probably won't even apply to. But for that 1%, I tell you what, it's worth going down that rabbit hole, okay, folks? If you have questions over this baffling deal or any other issues dealing with TIAA, by all means, folks, contact me. My information should be below. Greg Shepard here, S&A Financial Services. Hey, go out and have a good one. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.